The mounts of the hand, Jupiter, Saturn, Apollo, Mercury, and Venus, can be found when you put your hand into a cupping shape, and they can be a strong indication of your general personality. So if you just cup your hand, you can have a bit closer look. Tingles with Lifeline. Daily ASMR videos. Hello and welcome to your own personal Chiromancy session. I have been reading palms for many years and am able to discern with a keen eye and quite a fair amount of detail things happening across the course of your life simply by looking at the lines upon your palm. So I do have here a little reference just to give you an idea of the template of what we're looking at. We'll look at your line of your heart, the line of the head, your lifeline, then we'll look at your mounts, Jupiter, Saturn, Apollo, Mercury, and Venus, and finally we'll look through your phalanges. These are the small lines that separate the segments of your fingers. So, let me just warm up my hands. I can sometimes get cold hands, so I always like to warm them up first. And I have my trusty pointer. And I'll just use that. I just need your dominant hand. Yes, wonderful. So here we'll look at your heart line. And if you look, can you see here? You can see it begins right below your middle finger. So your heart line can tell us a little bit about your romantic life. And this sort of start can indicate a propensity towards selfishness in love. Yeah, kind of know that about yourself. I'm always a little cautious. Some people don't like to know about perhaps their less favorable attributes, but the hand tells all. Now, you can also see your heart line. So this is the heart line, and then we have the lifeline here. You can actually see that yours touch each other. Yeah, they kind of cross. You see that? Yeah, right here. This can indicate that your heart is broken a little more easily than other people. So, you gotta be careful with your heart. You can fall in love quickly and fall deep, and if the other person doesn't necessarily reciprocate, it can be quite painful. Yeah. Now the last thing we can see in your heart line, can you see how it's a bit broken? Yeah, it's not all one continuous segment. So those broken segments indicate that you have undergone some emotional trauma in your life. Yes, that is exactly the sort of thing that would indicate And so you can actually see that in your palm. Okay. So next we're going to move on to your headline, which is this sort of middle line going across the middle of your hand. And this is more matters intellectual. So let's look here. We have a fairly short line, and that generally indicates that you're a person who prefers tests of physical strength rather than mental strength. Yeah, I mean, I can see you're quite fit, so you obviously spend a lot of time on your physique. And that can kind of be reflected in your headline as well, but that's where you place more emphasis, just because it's a bit shorter. You can also see in the nature of the line, do you see how it's a little bit wavy? Yeah, just got a little deviations. That can indicate that you have a bit more of a shorter attention span and kind of flit between things a bit. Yeah. Yeah, so that's something you're probably familiar with. And then your headline, because it's actually quite close up here, but there's a large difference between here and here. And that huge difference can indicate between your headline and your lifeline. That huge difference can indicate quite an extroverted personality, very free-flowing and vivacious. So I'm sure people love to be around you. Yeah. So that's what we see in your headline. Now we'll move to the lifeline. Let's look. You've got a nice, big, long curve. Can you see that curve? That shows a lot of strength and enthusiasm for life. That's just nice, real curve. That's another thing that people be really drawn to. Oh yeah, see, that's a little bit of a misconception. The lifeline actually has no indication of your length of life. It's more qualities and different events that may occur within your life. Yeah. Now, lots of people think that. You're not the only one. So you've got that nice curve. And I think, actually, if we look a little closer, we actually got a second line there. Can you see that? Well, that's quite rare to have two lines. When you have a second line there, it indicates just extreme vitality. I see that and I get tired. I'm a more sedate person. That amount of energy is overwhelming to me, but it is a wonderful quality to have. Yeah, that's very rare. That's something you should be very happy about. Now let's see, don't have any islands, which is good. That means you'll sometimes see little circles along the line that can indicate injuries or hospitalizations. I don't see any of those, so that's a very good sign for your health. And then if you see little breaks, we can see across both lines just a couple breaks. It can indicate changes in lifestyle. So perhaps when you decided to get really fit, or even if you for someone who is so involved in fitness and their body, it could even be a difference in, if you changed from a traditional weightlifting regime into a more, taekwondo, something like that could be indicated by those breaks in the line, or major shifts in your career, that sort of thing. Yeah, but something where it's very major, it's not something where it's just kind of I changed jobs. Those don't really show up on your lifeline. These are something where it's more comprehensive within your personality. You can see those 2 breaks within your line. So that indicates 2 times in your life major modality changes. So if you've only had 1 so far, still have another one to go. So that is your 3 major lines. So look now, because I can see you actually have a fate line across the middle of your palm. Some people have them, some don't. And we can see actually on there, this line has some breaks and sudden changes, which can indicate that you have a lot of changes within your life, which is probably just an indication of that vitality and how it takes you all around. Yeah. This actually, yours joined your lifeline. Yes, you can see not a separation like this. You can see it actually comes together there. And that indicates that you're self-created and you have lots of dreams. So you're somebody very driven and you accomplish a lot. You're able to go out and chase your dreams. So that's a wonderful. That's a great fate line to have. Yeah. Now we'll look to your mount. For that, I just need you to cup your hand like this. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so if we look at your Venus mount, so your Venus mount's this one right here. And you can see it's quite large, which means that you like instant gratification, you have a lot of energy, and perhaps maybe a little promiscuity. Yeah, getting a feeling on that one. Then if we move up to these mounts, if we look at your Jupiter mount, we can see that's very prominent. That means you have a dominant, aggressive personality, which can be very ambitious, which I think is very much the case. It can indicate some self-centeredness, but with you, I'm seeing all of these things coming together, definitely tending much towards the ambitious. You seem like a real go-getter. Then we'll move to your Saturn mount. This is low. So this can indicate a bit of disorganization and a little bit of superficiality, which if you indulge those too much can lead to depression. So even though it's a little bit against your nature, trying to be organized and seek a little bit more depth in your life will give you a lot more meaning. Yeah. Apollo, yours is barely there. That's your hand is very dominated by your Jupiter and Mercury mounts. So the lack of an Apollo can indicate somewhat a lack of imagination. And what that means is really just, with your ambition, that's a wonderful aspect, but it means you're going to need to bring people in who have that creative side to them to really help you succeed your most. And that's fine, not everybody has to be creative, that's fine. Just embrace your positive qualities and surround yourself with those who make up for what you lack. Do wonderfully. Now your Mercury mount, again, these ones are quite large for your mounts. this can indicate that you're very talkative, very outgoing. Don't want to say overly talkative, but you have a propensity to talk people's ear off, but also quick-witted and a wonderful personality. So it's not the worst combination to have. Yeah. So that takes care basically of your palm area. Now we're going to move to your digits. Going to look at your phalanges. So if you can just, you can unfurl your hand and I'll begin on your index finger. Yes, wonderful. So if we look here at the first phalange, we can see you have these grill shapes. So that's it. The grill shape, it's kind of a cross hatching that just goes deep within the line there. On the first phalange, this indicates seclusion. So this could be a couple different things. It can indicate kind of a self-imposed seclusion. If you like to get some me time or really focus on yourself. It can also indicate a period of imprisonment. So I usually don't like to delve too much. These kind of things can be a bit personal for people. So unless you want me to, just leave that for you. On the second phalange there, on your index finger, you can see we have grills as well. This can be an indication that you're deceiving yourself in some way. Kind of that you're lying to yourself, and it doesn't indicate necessarily, your whole personality or anything, but there'll probably be something that's kind of twigged at the back of your mind right now that you might be lying to yourself about. And right there on your phalange, it's telling you, yep, you're doing that. And it's something you want to look out for and make sure you are aware of and addressing, because lying to yourself is never good. It's always great to be honest with yourself. On your third phalange, you've got grills again. I got grills on all three. It's quite rare. This means someone who uses their personal power to succeed in their career, kind of no matter the impact that will have. That's where I can see that ambition coming through. We're seeing that theme coming through. So you've definitely got a lot of strength there as far as your career goes. You definitely have a lot of things lining up for you there. Now let's move to the ring finger. Okay, I'll just stick that one out on your first phalange here. I've got more grills. These can be a sign on this phalange of a confused energy. Just get them a little bit more detail. This can happen if you have a lot of things that you're dealing with, a lot of things on your plate. So if you're trying to take on too much and you're a bit confused about where to go, again, this is where I can really see that you would benefit so much from bringing a creative type into your life. I think that would really be helpful for you. Yeah, that would be really good, and I think that would help that confused energy as well. Now onto the second phalange here, you have beautiful vertical lines. So this is someone who values honesty. And that's why it can be such a problem if you are being a little dishonest with yourself. That value of honesty is going to shine through. You need that honesty to really be actualized within yourself. And then our third phalange there. You've got crosses. So this is a bit not quite as stark as the grills. This is someone who has gotten away from kind of normal mental development. What I can see there is just that strong focus on your physique and your career without as much focus on your mental development. It can really help you become a bit more well-rounded if you can put some focus into that area. Maybe just read one book a month, something like that, just to keep you mentally stimulated. It's really important, particularly at end of life, to keep your brain active. And so that's just something to be aware of. Now let's move to your ring finger. So on the ring finger, we can see multiple vertical lines. These are an indication that you're a bit emotional or sympathetic, that you're really easily able to feel for other people and kind of wear your heart on your sleeve type person. Yeah, which can really, really serve you well. Beautiful vertical lines. Now let's look here. It's a bit hard to make out. They could be grills, could be crosses. I think they're a bit closer to crosses. Crosses indicate that you have some talent that you've been neglecting. So this wouldn't be your physique or your career. It would be more something that you probably did a bit as a child and really had aptitude for, but you've kind of let go. It could even be on the mental side of things to help you get that well-rounded personality, just pulling a little bit of that back in. Yes, exactly. Yeah, if you delved into that a bit more, would really, really help you out. Okay, now let's look at your last. Just need to move your ring there. Yep. Okay. There we see horizontal lines, which are an indication of some stress due to multiple obstacles. Assume that's career-based. Doing really well with your exercise and everything like that, but sometimes you just need to decrease the burden on yourself. And that's where I, really recommend bringing other people in to help you out. Yeah. Now let's move to everyone's favorite, the pinky. So your pinky, first phalange there. Okay, you've got some grills. This indicates that it would be good to improve your communication skills, which, it's always good practice. If you do bring new people in, always a good time to practice the new communication. Just working on listening. For the big talkers, listening can sometimes be an issue, so really worth it to focus on that. Yeah. Now let's look at your next one there. Okay, you've got some nice vertical lines here. Very, very vertical. This symbolizes that you are very sincere in your communication, particularly in your very close relationships, and that's that. Can we see that hard on your sleeve type mentality coming out? But in those very personal relationships, that you're very, very willing to communicate your strong emotions, which is a great asset to have. And then your final phalange on your pinky. We've got some horizontal lines. this indicates stress, much like our last on your ring finger, but this one's a little bit different in meaning. It indicates stress, that you feel a bit hard to be understood sometimes. And so that can cause a bit of stress. And I think the best thing really with that is to get some coaching on that. A life coach can be really helpful with that sort of area, particularly with your career. So I think a life coach would be really good for you, along with a creative individual. Okay. Finally, we have the phalanges on the thumb. We have 3 there. For your first phalange, we've got horizontal lines, and this indicates stress as far as motivation goes, which for most people usually means a lack of motivation, which I am not seeing anywhere else with you, so I don't think that's the way to read that. That would kind of be the textbook reading, but taking everything as a whole, what I'm reading there is that your motivation is there, but it can kind of stress you how much you're doing. You need to take a little step back. As I said, delegate some duties to some other people. Very, very important. That's the stress I'm seeing there. On your second phalange, which is this one right here, it's a little hard to see. If I can just get you to kind of bend in. Yeah, that's great. So this one, we've got grills. So this is a very particular meaning. So as I said, with your close relationships, we can see a huge amount of honesty, but the grills here indicate dishonesty. And they indicate dishonesty where you think it's for a good reason, and I'm sensing that this is probably in your career, that you think for some reason the dishonesty may be justified. And this is going to go against your spirit in the long run. You're an honest person, so don't fall into the trap of thinking that dishonesty is going to get you where you want to go. You want to have absolute honesty, and you'll feel more confidence with where you're going. So don't give in to the temptation, which I know is there, and there is a road back if you've done things you shouldn't have. And your final phalange, we've got some horizontal lines. This can actually indicate a lot of things. It means stress, but from an outside influence. So sometimes it might indicate if somebody's friend doesn't like their partner, or if somebody doesn't approve of how you're doing your life, particularly maybe parents, if they think you should be doing something else. Yeah, and that sort of stress is some of the hardest to deal with, because you can't really change what other people think, because you have to live your life for yourself. But I think the number one thing is just to hold on to your own concept of how things are, and to surround yourself with the people who believe your vision for your life. That's going to give you the best opportunity to take your life in the direction that you want to go. Yes. So that is your palm reading. That's your palm. Lots of lines and lots of meanings in there, and I've really felt like I've got to know you quite well in reading your palm. It's been my pleasure, and I hope you will take some of the advice that we've gotten together while looking in there. It's all written there in your palm, and it's not it's not set in stone, you know, these things can change, so I'd like to see a few less horizontal lines, a bit less stress in your life if we can. So I think you really need some help. You need some helpers to help that out. Okay? Well, you can always come back in the future and we can look at your palm again if you're ever back in Tingledom. Oh, it's been my pleasure. And really, I hope you do, just bring a few more people in. Get some good help in your life.